Hello, welcome to Patched. I'm your host, Paul James. I'm joined by Matto Phillips. How's things, mate?
Old.
Yeah, you and me both. I'm down
Freezing.
I'm down a heater. I'm down all heaters in the household, so I'm
All
fucked.
heaters down. Oh dear.
It's real cold. I swore I dropped the F-bomb way too early in the video just now, but anyway, it's a pretty shitty situation. So
So you could walk around in your Xbox hoodie.
I do walk around in the Xbox hoodie. That's kind of keeping me going at the moment. But it's pretty chilly in there. Anyway, so that maybe I can go back into the house and play some games, and you can, I don't know, rug up in, I don't know if you got an hoodie or anything like that. But anyway, you can get yourself warm.
I've got one of those sleeping bags that looks like a star. You know the ones off The Simpsons.
the Maggie Simpson one.
Yeah. It was an LG one, so I brought it.
Oh, I thought you were joking. But that's even better.
I actually do have one.
Well, so we can go inside and get out of the cold in our respective situations. We're going to talk about the games that we're most anticipating for the remainder of the year. With all the Summer Games Fest and kind of June showcases done, and there are still some things coming up, like we've got the Keeleys again in August for Gamescom. Yeah, August. And I'm sure there'll be some other showcases before the year's out where we might get some new games that are kind of added to our respective lists. Right now, though, we're halfway through the year. It's the first week of the second half of the year. I was about to say the season, then I've been in footy mode. Up the Cats. We're going to talk about games that we're anticipating for this second half of the year. Now, Matto, you said you've got a few on your list. I've got a long list of games that are coming up that I'm keen on, but then it certainly whittles down to a much smaller list when it comes to games that I'm genuinely hyped for. Is there any sort of order to the way you've got them written? Like, are they kind of release date order or anything like that?
I think there's one that's got the number one spot.
Okay.
Everything else is doesn't really matter where it goes.
Well, maybe we'll kind of avoid that number one, we'll just avoid that number one of yours and get to it maybe last. But otherwise, like, mine are just assembled because I've got game releases set in order of months, and I'm just going to pick out the highlights along the way. So maybe we'll just kind of bounce around with various different games and then save your number one until the end. But kick us off. What's a game that you're keen on for the rest of the year?
Well, the first one is I just want to see how it is because it's been a long time in the making, and that is Stalker 2.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a good one.
I want to just give that a go, give the old studio some support and see how the game goes because it has been tough times for them. If no one knows what's happening over there, Google it.
Yeah. War, people.
We don't have to talk about it. It's every day on the news. If you watch the news,
if you watch the news,
which is on the TV, not your Instagrams or your Facebooks, because that's all garbage.
And it's algorithm, so if you're not looking for it, you're not going to see it anyway.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's a good pick.
Out. If it gets delayed again,
September 5th.
Yeah, it's got a set date, which is a good thing because I remember when they had their Xbox showcase, they said these are the next games coming in the next year, and this was, I think, before everything.
Silk Song.
Hit the fan. Yes, no Silk Song. And yeah,
go on. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I've got nothing else.
Oh, it's shaping up really well. Like, I'm pretty keen on it. I believe there's also a 3-month exclusive window for it. So, while it's kind of locked to Xbox and I believe PC on its September 5th date, PlayStation owners will be able to get in from December, apparently, if that report is to be believed. So there's going to be a lot of people that can potentially jump into this game before the end of the year, which is awesome because, firstly, the team deserves it, and yeah, we don't need to get into the real nitty-gritties about what's going on, but obviously it's been a pretty tough time for them over the course of the last few years to try and develop a AAA game at the same time and put out one that, as a team, you believe in, but also ends up being good is a real challenge. So hopefully it is good, and then hopefully people jump on it. I think it's on Game Pass as well, which will help put it in front of people. Hopefully hopefully they've sorted out like some little additional extra agreement with Xbox to say, if we get this many copies shifted on via Game Pass, we'll give you even more money because that'd be well deserved. And
also,
you'd hate to think they're getting screwed. You'd hate to think they get screwed.
Also, Xbox, maybe you should go back to school and learn how to market a game too.
Well, there's that, yeah.
Because Hellblade, we should market something. Oh wait, it comes out in a week. Let's just put something up and go, hey, here's when what times the game's getting released.
Maybe in retrospect they knew. Maybe they knew it was going to cop a hammering for being short, and maybe
Well,
the quality wasn't there, and so they've gone, well, let's not commit too
well,
much marketing money.
I think we do know the answer to that now. The answer is yes.
Yes.
So now we know. So now we know how it works now. If it's no marketing, bad. Lots of marketing, good. That's what I'm
Yeah,
going by.
that's
Xbox's
usually,
marketing
yeah.
system now.
To be fair, it's a pretty solid sort of thing for all companies for the most part. If you're not willing to invest marketing, it's usually not a good sign. But yeah, we'll see. Well, I'll jump over to one of mine then. There's nothing like there's some cool games in July, but there's nothing necessarily that I'm really losing my mind over. But SteamWorld Heist comes out in August, August 8th. Now I've made it very clear on the show over the years that I love the SteamWorld games. And SteamWorld Heist, the original one, was awesome. Like, it was a really clever take on turn-based but shooting. There was lots of strategy to it. It worked really well. And I'm all about the sequel. So it looks to be kind of doing the whole bigger, badder, and more badass sort of thing, or bigger, better, and more badass sort of thing that Cliffy B coined years and years ago. I'm all for what this game's doing, and look, I have a bit of love for the SteamWorld universe as it is, which kind of helps. But I mean, I'm sure there's games on all of our lists here that, because we have a bit of love for the franchise, that gets the game a little bit higher up the list. So SteamWorld fits that bill for me, and yeah, SteamWorld Heist 2 is right up there with one of the games I'm anticipating the most this year. So super keen on it. Have you taken a look at it at all?
I don't think so off the top of my head. I mean, I've seen a lot of game trailers this year, and I can't remember.
That's fair. I reckon
Or
check out
there's
some
been a
gameplay.
lot.
See if it's speaking to you, because I reckon it could. Like, it's
SteamWorld.
SteamWorld Heist 2.
I'll probably see the trailer and go, oh yeah, that game.
Look, I'd say there's not been a huge amount so far. They kind of announced it fairly recently. Like, it's certainly been less than a year that this game's kind of been public knowledge. They're working on quite a few different SteamWorld games at the moment, so I totally get why maybe you haven't even seen that much. I don't think it surfaced in any of the big showcases either. I think it was at PC gaming show and all those sorts of things, not the events that we care about, because PC games are for dorks. But yeah, the game was there, and it's really cool. So definitely check that one out, viewer and listener as well. Back over to you, mate.
Next one is a game that we finally get to play the actual character in the name of the game. The Legend of Zelda.
Oh yeah,
Echoes of Wisdom. Not The Legend of Link, which is, like I said, wasted opportunity they could have gone with.
missed opportunity.
But it's finally nice to see a game that's not City Witcher style gaming, which I'm all for.
Yeah.
I can't wait to have a weapon that doesn't break on me after 7 hits.
Well, I assume that's the case. Oh well, no. I guess it kind of is, because your enemies that you can conjure up different enemies and then use them on your side. I'm sure they'll take a beating and then die at some point. It ends up being the same
Well,
idea, right?
That's not your weapon though. You can understand there's going to be a timeout for them or
Yeah,
a
that's
rock. But yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see something other than slice it and dice it, instead of we're just cloning.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Look, I'm really keen on that one too. It's going to be pretty cool.
I just had a thought. I wonder how many chickens you can clone.
What about fire
Really
dicks? Can you
cool.
make fire dicks?
Don't know. Seems too PG to put fire dicks, but then again, so was Brett.
So it was Tears of the Kingdom, and yet, but what did
Well,
that game get rated?
I say, I thought it would be mature.
I can have a look. I think I can see a copy here. Keep going though.
I feel like it'd be mature. It's not a very PG game. There's violence.
Because I got the collector's edition, it doesn't have the rating on it. So
Oh, damn it. What a shame. Nothing but a quick Google can solve.
well, there's that.
We'll find out. Tears of the... Oh, there we go. Give me a rating, Google. It is an M.
It's an M-rated game.
But
Cool.
Echoes of Wisdom, PG.
PG-13.
So maybe it's not a detailed fire dick then.
Or
Maybe
there's,
it's something disguised as a fire dick.
but if people
just
make fire
honestly-
dicks, what are they going to do? Nothing you can do.
Can you pixelate it?
Challenge for people: make a fire dick in Echoes of Wisdom.
Don't worry. So someone's probably playing this right now. when they saw
As
that
they
game
should.
gone. Challenge accepted.
But
As
I'm
they
with
would.
you. Like this, yeah. Especially, I think for both of us, there's probably a lot of similarities. Like we both love Zelda, but we've just not loved the direction of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. So to go back to something that's a bit more traditional and it has elements of those games for sure in terms of that kind of ability to kind of create your own paths and get a bit creative with it is cool. But otherwise, I'm pretty stoked with the direction they're going with this one. So get around it on September 26th when that one comes out. Any other thoughts on Zelda?
No, it's just nice to finally play Zelda.
Yeah, Link's
And not.
Awakening remake is a thing there, and I've enjoyed that. But yeah,
Oh,
it's
yes.
and it's the same team, Grezzo, that developed that's developing this one. But yeah, we'll see. Um, well, I'll kind of stick. I'll come back to August later on. September, you've touched on Zelda. You've touched on Stalker 2. Astrobot comes out in September as well.
Oh.
And I'm all about that. And all the commentary from those who went hands on with the game at Summer Games Fest, they're all saying like this feels like a Nintendo game, like a Mario game, and that's a huge compliment because I mean we know how high the watermark is for like a Super Mario Galaxy or Wonder or whatever whatever it happens to be. Well, Wonder's 2D, but the 3D the 3D Mario's to be kind of compared to those, that's a big deal. And the original Astrobot rescue mission on PSVR is still considered the best VR game on that platform. Astro's Playroom, the launch title for the PS5, low key awesome, even though it was just a free bundled in thing. And this looks like it's going to be kind of the full blown. I think it's 80 levels or something like that. That's already been announced. 80 level platformer.
Ooh.
They're going all out, I think. So, and the crazy thing, it's like 60 people working on the game over the course of the last 3 years. So they haven't even like just to wade into financials and things that don't technically matter to the playing experience. They've not even like committed massive resource to this. Like Sony's probably looking at this thing going, if this is as good as we think it's going to be, and people are already foaming at the mouth right now, if we go out and sell even a couple million copies of this thing, we are rolling in cash because it will not have cost them much money at all. And now
No.
they're gonna
I sort of feel like
They're gonna crush
it's going
it.
to be an early contender for Game of the Year.
Yeah.
Because we really haven't had anything that's gone, like we said this year, nothing said, wow, at this point. Something like cool,
I'll
but no
I'll put
wow.
Rebirth in that category, but
Oh, yes.
at the same
And
time, yeah, it's not had a lot of competition yet. So I do
kind
get
of
that.
forgot. I'll be honest, I kind of forgot about Rebirth until you just said it. I thought,
Well, that's fair, and
oh, yeah.
you're still going through. You've just finished remakes, so you've got some time up your sleeve. I won't show my hand too much because we've got all of our Game of the Year stuff that we'll be doing at the end of the year. But yeah, Rebirth is right up there on my list.
Another Final Fantasy game.
Yeah.
Back to back.
I
That's
didn't
right.
I didn't say it's at number one. I just said it's right up there.
Unless My Name is Mario 4 comes out, but
Instant
that is
instant Game of the
highly
Year.
unlikely. Unlikely.
Well,
Unless Power Wash
Oh, yeah,
Simulator
that's right,
2
it's
comes
Dash.
out. That
Yeah.
that could topple it.
get around it. Well, back over to you, mate.
So this is my second last one of excitement. It is hopefully all I can say is it'll be better than the franchise release from last year, which is Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Yeah, real keen. It's gonna be a really good one.
I think it's quite interesting too that it's probably been 10 years since they've done a back-to-back year release, because they used to do it like a long time. I feel like Syndicate
Yeah.
and Unity were the last two to go back to back, and then they went from
Trying to think.
2 year stretches after that.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I mean we had like Unity and then Syndicate, and then we had a bit of a gap before Origins came out. But
And
nah? See, Origins and Odyssey, there was only 1 year between them. Origins came out 2017, and then
Sure.
then
I
Odyssey the very
disagree.
next year, I think.
I disagree with that. I felt like it was 16, 18.
Origins came
20.
out 2017, and then Odyssey, I'm almost certain.
They come out back to back.
Yeah, 2018. Yeah, those two were
Ah.
back-to-back years, and
It didn't
and
feel
then
like
it was a couple of years before Valhalla, and then
Ah.
and then we're
Then
getting
Mirage.
we're getting back-to-back again. So
Okay. Okay, I didn't realize that they were back to back because I thought they would go in 2 year gaps.
But
Because
see,
they're
I'm okay
so
with back to back in this
huge.
case because they're pretty different sort of Assassin's Creed
Oh
games, so
yeah,
it's not such a big deal. I still haven't played Mirage. I'm worried that it's going to get away from me now before playing Shadows, but we'll see what happens. They're very
all I
different Assassin's Creed games though, so it might be I might just be able to cop it with that too much of a concern.
just hopefully it couldn't be that difficult to be better than the last one. That's all I'm saying.
Then Mirage,
But the Mirage, but there is sneaky ninja stuff. But
two
also too,
playable
they've gone back
protagonists.
to the old Jacob EV technique of one sneaky, one's just I'm going through the front door and just taking out everyone instead
Well,
of
I think that was different in the sense that like they still played the same way. It's just that Jacob was
different
kind of
styles. Yeah,
very on the nose, and so the scenario would kind of force you into kind of a high combat sort of thing. Whereas Evie could be stealthy. Whereas in this case, they're two very distinct characters that'll allow you to go combat and one more stealthy. But so
okay,
I
so
kind of like
one
that there's a
goes
narrative thing here that links to their size differences in the way they'll
so
play.
one has throwing knives, one has a katana. That's how I look at it.
One
Oh
has
no, he
throwing
has a
knives and
big
one throws hands.
one has a massive baseball bat looking thing with a spike.
It all sounds pretty good to me. But yeah, this game's gonna be pretty cool. I'm really keen to check it out. November 1st for that one.
Now the question is, will there be a boat if it's a big open world game? I mean, what would you ride? Just a horse. There's no camels in Japan, in Asia, I don't think. There could be. No donkeys.
I won't speak
Why not?
authoritatively to that because I have no idea. But I'm sure that
Yeah,
there's got to be camels in parts of Asia. But of course, this is
sure,
Japan.
there'll
It's
be
kind of its own
donkeys. Yeah.
island, and there'll be donkeys for sure. There'll be horses. Um, there are expanses of water, but everything is kind of accessible without having to hit the water, unless going off to some of the really small islands of Japan. So I wonder if they'd send you to Tsushima just for a laugh. We'll see there, but so
Wasn't one Fukushima? Was I reading it incorrectly with the trailer?
isn't Fukushima just where the nuclear plant was? Maybe there's some little.
What?
Yeah.
This was, I think, pretty sure this was before the nuclear plant, unless they started building it back in those days.
I don't know.
Who
Yeah,
knows?
wasn't sure if it was on the radar because of that or not. But yeah. Look, it's shaping up really well. I'm really keen. And I wouldn't say November's sparse. There's some other games that I'll talk about from November that kind of fit on my list, but I don't know. It feels like a good time for it because there's not necessarily a huge amount in October, personally. But I'm keen. I'm real keen. I'm hoping that like I can kind of get right back into Assassin's Creed again because yeah, I've missed Mirage. I didn't finish Valhalla. Didn't even get close to finish with Valhalla. So I'm kind of looking for that fix again. And I think Valhalla, the wind kind of got taken out of its sails because I played, what was it called? The other big Ubisoft open world thing, Immortals Phoenix Rising, that came out like a couple of weeks later.
Oh,
And then I was playing that while
Yes.
kind of bouncing a baby on my chest for weeks at a time. So it was a good way to.
I'll be
through that.
honest, that was probably the better choice, I think.
Immortals was awesome. I loved
It was
Immortals. So real keen. Well, I'll stick with the. So as we said, like I've skipped stuff in August. We'll get back to that. I'm assuming probably beginning with your very next selection.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll try and power through some of the other games then that are kind of on my list. One of which I think will segue into your selection. So, as I said, October doesn't really have a lot. I am keen to check out Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred, but I also haven't played Diablo 4 fully yet. So I need to tick that box before moving on. Like Silent Hill and those some sort of games are on the list. Like I'm curious, but I'm not racing out for it. Metaphor Fantasio could be a game that ends up being a game of the year contender for a lot of people, but like I don't know, it's got too much of that anime sort of style. It might be as good as the Persona games being developed by the Persona developers, but I just don't know if I have the interest there. But in November, there's a few that I'm really keen on. Mario and Luigi Brothership's interesting off the back of the direct last week, but the two games that I really, really want to play beyond Assassin's Creed Shadows are Avowed, which hasn't officially been given its date, but Obsidian kind of leaked it during their whole Summer Games Fest sort of week thing. It seems like they just had some other news beat that they wanted to hit down the line, but they put out November 12th release date. So I'm keen to jump into Avowed. And a game that you and I both discussed off the back of the Nintendo Direct last week is Dragon Quest 3 Remake, HD 2D remake. Really, really keen to jump into that one. And the fact that it's not all three combined means that I can probably knock that one. Being a JRPG, you expect them to be long, but those older ones were 15 to 20 hours sort of in length, if I remember. So it's also a fairly manageable sort of length with everything else that's going on around it. So really, really keen on that one. I'll also just shout out the fact that Indiana Jones is likely to come out before the end of the year as well. It just doesn't have a date yet. Nothing's leaked about that one. So we'll wait and see. But yeah, certainly Avowed and Dragon Quest 3 Remake are right up there in terms of November releases. I'll toss to you because the game that we're going to discuss next, I think, is clearly your number one. And yeah, go for it.
Well, number one, I think it's pretty obvious what it is because you skipped August, and if anyone knows what's in August, oh wait, that should have been my number one. I just realised then. I don't know if that's this year or next year. I was going to say Hello Kitty Island Adventure, but I'm pretty sure that's next year.
Not soon enough.
No.
Also, Dragon Quest 3, the original version, was 28 hours long, apparently. So a bit longer than I thought. But...
Oh, there you go. It is Star Wars Outlaws is the number one.
That's fair. It's shaping up really well.
Yes, it's finally nice to have a game where you're not a Jedi. You finally get to be
an outlaw.
Outlaw.
Yeah, no, I'm all about it. It's shaping up really, really well. I want to see more.
I mean, the gameplay that Ubisoft put forward, I guess.
Yeah, it's weird wording.
It's weird. Yeah, and you said they went through it pretty easily. It's like, oh, your gun has this, that. Like, great. That's usually how guns works. And your companion can knock people out. I think, oh, cool. At least your companion does something. It's not just a waste of time.
That little lizard thing is awesome. Is that the one we're talking about? I have to
Yes.
go back and check out the gameplay. I kind of shelved it so I could go check it out properly at some point.
Pretty sure it's a lizard. It's not a robot, I don't think. No,
yeah,
robots can't.
Yeah, there
do
is that little lizard thing, I know, but yeah, I wasn't sure if there was a droid of some sort because, yeah, I've
not.
kind of half gone into deliberate radio silence on this just to not spoil anything because we know what Disney can be like. They do love spoiling their own products.
Yeah. And ruined it by putting a movie character in there. You don't need to do that.
And look, it could still happen.
I know. I just find it incredibly annoying because you kind of know what's going to happen with them. If it's anything like the Star Wars Jedi games.
Yeah.
If anyone hasn't played them, spoiler. Darth Vader's in them. You know what's going to happen. You're not going to win. That's the thing. Yeah. That's all I'll say. You do have a fight with him.
But we know how it ends, right? Like, you know what's going to happen.
It's absolutely pointless.
You know that you don't win.
There is no winning against Darth Vader.
End spoilers.
Unless it's the Emperor, who defeats you by electricity.
Because why not, of course.
Why not?
Anything else you want to say about that one?
No, also, battles in space.
Yes, that's going to be cool.
Maybe Ubisoft did teach Starfield a lesson on how to have in-space combat.
Yeah,
that's fair. Because I was looked at God already better than Starfield, and that's been harsh, I know, but the expectations for Starfield were very high, and they were very mediocre in some areas. Not all, just the areas they talked up and got, hey, do this, do that, and it was just like,
yeah, there's certainly area for improvement there, but yeah, this one could do an awesome job of it. Matto, that's not my number one.
Oh,
I thought
is there another one in August?
I thought that was going to be your call, so I was happy to just kind of leave the other August game off my list for the time being. Visions of Mana.
Oh, right.
Yeah, no, for me, like, I'm all about this. Secret of Mana was like the first game that I ever finished, and I would have done it as like a 5-year-old or something like that. It was such a huge deal, that game, and the fact that it's kind of it's doing what the likes of Final Fantasy VII Remake and whatnot are doing, but 30 years ago in terms of, momentum, like it was kind of action the turn-based components were there, but also it was at its core still very action-based and players moving. Like, it was very it's just action gamey with sprinklings of JRPG on top of it. Worked really well. The story was cool. The game looked awesome. The music was top tier. It ticks like every single box that I think a lot of gamers are looking for these days when it comes to their JRPGs. Only it's been doing it for 30 years. So I loved Secret of Mana back in the day. I've had a lot of love for that franchise ever since. And now we're getting a brand new one that's also been like it's about 15 years since the last new game in the franchise. So I'm like, and real one, I should say, none of this mobile game bullshit that has already been shut down on the various different mobile platforms because it was awful and no one cared. So yeah, Visions of Mana is actually my number one. Star Wars Outlaws would be number two, but Visions of Mana is my number one for the remainder of the year. I love everything they've shown about it so far. It ticks all the right boxes for me. I mentioned before, there's kind of that nostalgia and having a bit of bias towards franchises that you've got history with, and for me, the bit of history that I've got with this franchise means that it's an easy number one for me. But yeah, not to dismiss Star Wars or many of the other games that are there along the way, because I don't think this is going to be some sort of crazy big blockbuster end of the year that we've kind of had in the past, but I think it's pretty solid and consistent. Like, there's other games that we haven't mentioned that, Kinitsugami Path of the Goddess, the new Capcom game. It was kind of that action game that looked like Monster Hunter when they started to debut at one point, but then clearly wasn't. Black Myth Wukong could be a game of the year contender for a lot of people, depending on how that plays out. Obviously, that's if those people can get stop playing Elden Ring's DLC.
That'll probably be game of the year.
Weebs could be losing their mind over Dragon Ball Sparking Zero that comes out later in the year.
Oh, yes.
What other games are on this list of other kind of notable releases for the rest of the year? I don't see Concord winning Game of the Year, but who knows? The previews were pretty positive after people went hands-on with it this past weekend. Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn, and who knows? I can't go this episode without saying it, but Silksong could still come out. It's got 6 months. It's got 6 months this year. It could still come out, and if that comes out, forget nostalgia, forget all my memories of Visions of Mana. It's all about Hollow Knight Silksong if that thing gets a date this year. So I had to say it. I feel like if I don't say it, it's almost like a character flaw at this point. I have to acknowledge it. Any other games you want to shout out that you've kind of thought of as we've kind of moved through this episode at all?
No.
That's fair.
I say I would be excited for Dragon Age, but
oh yeah, Dreadwolf. Does that
trailer?
That doesn't have a date yet, does it?
No.
Trailer wasn't great, but gameplay was good.
Gameplay, but the problem I have with it, the one thing I noticed is it seems linear.
I mean, I can deal, but yeah, I don't think it will be, but I think yeah.
But what we saw, it's just all, hey, go here, instead of, hey, you can go explore here and here. But
it might be Mass Effect-y in that sense, where like there's once you kind of engage with like a mission, it becomes a very linear sort of thing. Yes. But then, and it sounds like they've been kind of paying a lot of attention to what they did with Mass Effect 2 specifically, from what I hear in terms of development.
If that's the case, fair enough.
Yeah.
I can get behind that. But maybe, if it's like that, I completely forgot about Mass Effect and thought how with one you're like, oh, this is pointless and stupid, drive around your stupid cart on a planet. And then the second one, cut that crap out. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I didn't even think about that. My mind has changed now, just with that one small sentence.
He's on board. It's now top 5.
I'm back on board. It's number 1. No, not quite.
But it's going to be a pretty cool game. I'm definitely keen to see that. Yeah, I think that and Indie / Avowed technically are kind of the ones without dates at the moment that I think we all expect to drop. That have been clearly outlined for 2024. So that's where I can rule out Silksong for a moment. That have been clearly outlined as coming out in 2024, but are yet to have a specific date. I feel like that's about it at the moment. I'm sure there's something I'm not thinking of, but right now they're the only games I can think of that are pretty high profile, that have been defined as 2024 games, but just haven't got a date. I'm skimming through a list that Game Informer's put together just to double check, but why did it anyway? But there's nothing really on that big AAA side that I believe fits that bill. Yeah, there's Dragon Age still in the TBD. Hyperlight Breaker actually could be really cool. That kind of fits the one like as well. On the indie side, that could be awesome. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 hasn't got its date yet, but that's also meant to be coming out before the end of the year. Lego Horizon Adventures.
Oh yeah,
Super
completely
keen on
forgot about
it. Which is crazy because it was only like 2 weeks ago. We were like, holy shit, Lego game, it's the Horizon, it looks great, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, and we've already forgotten about it. But I guess that's what happens when you don't have a solid release date yet. Other than that, yeah, there's not. I am still hanging out for, and I don't want this to become my Silk Song, but I think it was probably my Silk Song before Silk Song was my Silk Song. The Wolf Among Us 2. I would desperately like to see a release date for before the end of this year. I don't know if it's going to end up coming out this year. I don't know if they've already potentially announced. I don't know if they've potentially announced that it's already, shifting to 2025 or anything like that. But right now, they're still talking about 2024 apparently. So we'll see. That'd go racing up the list as well. As soon as that one gets announced with a date, I'm all over that, and I feel like that is a Gamescom opening night live sort of thing. So we'll see. Anyway, I won't keep kind of referencing games that may or may not even release this year yet. But there's some cool ones still that could kind of come out and surprise people at the end of the year as well. Any other thoughts?
No.
All right. Well,
I just feel like I could go through this entire year and not play a game released this year,
and be pretty much okay with it.
Yeah. Like my top 5 this year is going to be pretty slim.
You'll play Rebirth. You'll play Rebirth before the year's out. You'll get started on it now. You've got the bug. There's at least one.
There's one. It's Hellblade 2.
Oh yeah. You done with that yet?
No, I haven't even gone back to it.
Good call. All right, we'll wrap things up there. If you enjoyed this episode of Patch, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Check out the YouTube channel for a whole bunch of other cool stuff there. There's gameplay videos, there's shorts, there's hype checks, and a whole bunch of other cool stuff there as well. Visit the website, player2.net.au, for reviews, previews, opinion pieces, news, features, links to the podcast series, Patch, the Player 2 Pixelcast, and Dev Diary. We're on Patreon, patreon.com/player2au, kicking a few bucks, lower tiers, early access, higher tiers, monthly episode exclusives, and finally there's Twitter. Matto
Matto_Phil.
Paul James Games, myself. The website is player2au. And until next week, thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you later.